and I'm just giving updates for the Russian troops going into the Ukraine. And what's really interesting is some Russian troops are sabotaging their vehicles. They don't want to fight. Um, this is from Pentagon officials, so it's not really official where they're getting the information from, but it's kind of heartening to see that some Russian troops are realizing what they're doing is not right, even if it's the fog of war or it's just the morale. So it's interesting. This report from Washington says that poor morale and fuel and food shortages. There's a convoy of 40 miles or so of the Russian movement is going into the Ukraine, but some Russian troops again are sabotaging their vehicles. They're puncturing their um, fuel lines, and they're not wanting to fight, so they can't go on if their fuel tanks are sabotaged. So they're not sure if that's due to the lack of experience or the being short in staff. So it's kind of interesting. And there's a supply chain issue with Russia, and they're thinking that it's having some difficulties going into the Ukraine. So that's one big story following. And Joe, Republican from Missouri, was attacking Joe Biden in his State of the Union address because he didn't mention saving any black lives once in his speech. With all due respect, Mr. President, you did not mention saving black lives once in this speech. Bush tweeted, all our country has done is given more funding to police. The result, 2021, set a record for fatal police shootings. So it's kind of interesting. The focus seems to be on the Ukraine. We're also going to put some links here for the charities for the Ukraine. There's a number that have popped up. These are Ukrainians fleeing outside of the Ukraine to help children, to help women. Some of the men have stayed behind to fight against Russia. And it's interesting to see. Another story that broke out is in the Ukraine with African students. This was reported by CBC in Canada, and it was talking about the treatment was not equal, says African student trying to flee the Ukraine. Belsky Mogba Nagal, a student in Ukraine from Cameroon, said it was clear to him that only Caucasian people were given priority when boarding trains and buses as they all tried to flee the fighting. He eventually made it to Slovakia. So he had a kind of report with that. So it's kind of interesting. And other news, yeah, more sanctions are coming against Russia. British Prime Minister Boris Yeltsin has also said some things with the UK. He's going to put a clampdown on Russia, probably more towards the oligarchy who have mansions and things like that. And yeah, it's going to be also the White House, and sorry, Canadians are off to fight in the Ukraine as well. So it's going to be an interesting time. Anyways, this is some of the news updated. There's also a second round of Russian-Ukraine talks. And Canada is looking prepared to welcome a number of refugees fleeing the war. Unlimited number, it says. Okay, so we'll keep you updated with the Ukraine, and check in or give us your questions for the Ukraine, and have a great Friday. Thank you.